In the hours leading up to the AFC Women's Cup final, Perth Glory and the Central Coast Mariners go head-to-head in the hopes of making their own finals campaign. And there's no better place to be than at the namesake ground of the Matildas captain. Hello and welcome to Sam Kerr Football Centre. It's round 20 of the Ninja A-League as Perth Glory hosts the Central Coast Mariners. Things could not be any tighter between these two sides. Just one ladder position and 1 point separate them. The Mariners have 4 games to play for the season, so an opportunity for last season's champions to fight their way back up, whereas the Glory just 3 games in their bid to make finals for the first time since 2019. And looking at the recent head-to-head in this fixture too, it was a 1-1 draw between the two sides back in January, but Central Coast Mariners hold the upper hand when it comes to playing this fixture in Western Australia, having won both times. It'll be the first time these two sides are facing off at the Sam Kerr Football Centre too. You can't help but wonder if the Matildas captain's form in Perth in the Asian Cup will inspire her former side this today. Plenty of changes for the Glory side that lost 2-1 to Adelaide last week, and especially in defence. Onyechi Zog misses out due to suspension, and Nat Tathan misses due to a quad injury. Misha Anderson and Georgia Cassidy are promoted from the bench, and Olivia Wood makes her starting debut. Rolla Badawia faces up against her former side. She was in red-hot goal-scoring form at her time at the Mariners, scoring 7 in the season she was in yellow. Badawia is a leading goal scorer for the Glory this campaign and opened the scoring very early in their game against Adelaide last week, finding the back of the net just 11 minutes into the game. Central Coast Mariners play their first game in over a month following the international break and a bye. Wholesale changes across the squad here too. Captain Taryn King and defensive stalwart Annabelle Martin are out of the matchday squad. Baxter Thu is expected to partner with Liz Barrett-Gray in defence. And Ana Dos Santos rejoins the matchday squad with an opportunity to see her first competition minutes since January. Izzy Gomez is the starting captain for the Mariners for the first time in her career. Last year's grand final player of the match is leading the league in assists this season and scored the last time the Mariners played for competition points back in February against Melbourne City. Perth Glory coach Stephen Peters is not underselling the importance of this game in his side's push for finals. He said, going into a crunch game like this and fighting for a direct role in the top 6, I don't think it gets any bigger in recent memory. Today's referee is Sophie Alum. She'll be assisted by Paula Orlandi and Nicoletta Sotiriopoulos. The 4th official is Liam Barclay. Central Coast Mariners' Corey Babington said he used his side's extended break to ensure that his team were well rested and recuperated. He has faith in his sides when it comes to bringing their best in long away trips after his team's win across the ditch against Wellington. Perth Glory, it's part of their Pride Ground celebrations here. They'll be wearing the rainbow numbers on their kit today. You can see the final words being said by Izzy Dalton. And plenty to pay for here at the Sam Kerr Football Centre for them. And of course, to discuss today's match and talk about how important it is for both these sides leading into finals. Very pleased to have me joining alongside me on the broadcast is Ninja A-League's legend, Teresa Polias. Teresa, it's a huge game in the context of how close we are to the end of the home and away season.
Thanks, Georgia. It certainly is. When you look at the ladder, this is as tight as it gets. 7th versus 8th, 1 point apart. They're just outside the top 6. So today's not just about the performance, it's about who can handle the pressure and take that step towards finals football. Very exciting.
Plenty of changes for both teams. Is this an opportunity for some of these players who might not always be consistently in the starting 11 to put their mark on for the final couple of weeks?
Yeah, it definitely should be. They should be competitive about it. I know the Mariners have a massive run of fixtures ahead, so it's an opportunity for every player to stake their claim for that starting spot.
Great crowd here at the Sam Kerr Football Centre as well. Really turning up Sprite. And of course, with the Matildas kicking off not too long but after this game finishes as well, you got to think a lot of these players will be hoping to see one of some of these A-League, Ninja A-League players for the Matildas in the future. And we're underway here at the Sam Kerr Football Centre. Havani Prakash on the ball for the Mariners.
Certainly an exciting afternoon and night ahead with, you know, another big game after this, so lots happening. But for now, this is a huge game. Both teams just so close together, a point apart, and not many rounds to go. So the result today is so important.
And when you consider that Brisbane's win yesterday has effectively pushed Perth out of the top 6, these teams need to make sure that the results that they get on the board is that how they have control of their own destiny. With only a couple of rounds left to play. It is quite the warm afternoon here in Perth, so we will be having 2 drinks breaks per half in this match. Tian McKenna starting in centre back today. Saw her on the team sheet. Bit of a rejig with Olivia Wood there alongside her. And a good interception by Gomez. Flashes through the middle. Trimis. And a lovely ball from Gomez. They combine oh so well. Trimis wants to drive it into space. Puts it on her left. Flicks back out. Gomez looks like she got a touch to it. Now the Glory look to strike in transition. It's a strong run from Holler. In the end, pushed out by Lorena Mackay Buchanan, rather.
Just early signs of what both teams can offer today. The Mariners will try to exploit those wide areas and disorganise Perth, so those turnovers are where Perth really have to regather defensively and organise themselves.
Holler, well, looks to get the first strike on target of the game, but the offside flag was up. But really positive attacking signs from Perth to begin.
Yeah, positive start. Good effort there from Holler. Grove did make the save, although it was called offside, but it's a close one. Across that line there, I'm not convinced it was offside, to be honest, but in any case, Grove made a good save there.
Of course, Annalie Grove started her Ninja A-Leagues career across at Adelaide United. Has been the #1 goalkeeper for the Mariners since that ACL injury to Sarah Langman back in round 6. And
well, here's a player to watch today, Avani Prakash. Very creative going forward, wins the foul. It's going to be a very interesting battle between her and Cassidy in those midfield areas. A lot of talent there on display.
Well, Avani Prakash coming off winning the assist of the month, thanks to that assist across in Wellington too. So we know that she has that real creative spark and can be a real point of difference for this Mariners side. Might not have a goal to her name this season, but does so much in the midfield.
She's so fun to watch. She's got to be, in my top 5 this season that I've enjoyed watching. So certainly a massive threat out there for Perth. They'll be looking to close her down quickly and try to, I guess, intimidate her with a bit of physicality, as you just saw from Cassidy. But one thing about Prakash I love as well is she's so tenacious and persistent. So if anything, I think that'll motivate her more.
Ella Lincoln getting stuck in from the ground. The Mariners looking to move ahead. Bauman brought down. Play continues. The Glory want to push forward. Gomez gets up quickly after a bit of an awkward landing. With all the changes and the fact that we're playing 4 games in 2 weeks, so really not a player that you'll want to see come off due to injury for the Mariners.
Well, here's that incident. Yeah, just slipped on that trailing leg. She's up and ready. That's why warm-ups are so important, Georgia. But the pitch looks amazing out there. The ball's moving really nicely along it.
Wood was at full sprint, given away by Holler. Prakash. Plenty of purple in front of her, decides to lay it off to her left. Tamar Levin's there to receive. She receives it back in the box. The shot, the attempted cross almost is completely blocked.
Really well read there from Cassidy. Once again, those two at it. Avani Prakash just telegraphing the shot there. Perhaps could have offloaded the ball created a bit more width.
Would have come up against each other in young Matilda's camps as well, those two particular players. So someone who, you know, would obviously have grown up going through those Australian age group ranks.
Yeah, they certainly know each other's game very, very well. So just adds to that entertainment out there between the two. Already so much action in the first 5 minutes, so great to see.
And Perth Glory boasting the youngest starting 11 that they've had so far this season. Of course, quite a few changes due to players not available. Looking through the middle. Gomez to Trimis. Glory stifling and strangling any opportunities for the Mariners to break through the middle of the park. Dalton pointing exactly where she wants her players to be. And again, Gomez coming through. Cheeky tug of the shirt from Wood.
Yeah, there's a definite shirt pull there. A light one. Good decision, let the play flow, I think. No need to call such a light foul.
Izzy Gomez simultaneously leading fouls committed and fouls drawn in the league this season.
Well, she's such a dominant player and dangerous player, so she gets plenty of attention and gets herself involved as well. That's, you know, her trademark, really. It's what makes her so good.
And is that why it's almost no surprise that she's been given the armband for this fixture without Taryn King present?
Oh, certainly. You know, there's a few options out there for leadership, but yeah, you can't go past Izzy Gomez. The presence she has on the field for the Mariners.
The foul starting to come through in this game. So saw two really early shots for the teams. Now a little bit more settled play from both sides as well.
Yeah, a lot of play through the middle there, and I think Perth are the more sort of narrow team, more comfortable going through the middle of the two. I think where the Mariners will do that damage is out wide. So at the moment, Perth have been able to keep them central, and I think that's working for them. Very organised, plenty of numbers around the ball pressing. As you can see there, Havani Prakash gets a bit of attention again.
Tries to cut inside of McKenna. Ball from Morrissey. Finds McKenna in the end, but almost stolted for a moment. Plenty of talk from the Glory as they look to move it around with purpose. But really kept me along their back line. Wood in space to move. Holler is out wide. Puts it central, but just directly at the feet of Barrett Gray.
That's what it'll come down to today, those decisions in that middle to front third. I think Perth will try and set the tone early now. There's a good play around the back and picking their moment to venture forward, but it's going to come down to the decisions in and around the box for both teams. They've got to get that right to create chances, and they've got the players out there that can put the ball away.
Relatively even possession as well. When you talk about going through the middle, using the width, it's we will have 2 drinks breaks throughout this game. So of course, hot conditions here in Perth. It feels like temperature is currently 29.4 as well, and it's early days, so players will have to try and manage that fatigue as well.
Another important point as to why it's important to keep possession.
Badawea cut off by Barrett Gray, and the Mariners do well to win the throw.
Another example of the play in the front third that tends to break down. Yeah, but those tough, you know, hot conditions out there certainly drain players a lot more quickly, so losing unnecessary possession just doesn't help you in a game like today, and the stakes are so high. So certainly something I'm sure both teams would have spoken about before the match.
Both teams looking to fight their way back into the top 6. You can see that with just the desperation in the middle of the park. And foul committed by Prakash. It's an opportunity to start something here for the Glory. It's a fair way out and away from goal, but takes a couple of moments to get back on her feet.
Yeah, slightly. Look, I'd say Ivani pulled out of the challenge there, which is why she didn't get the yellow card. She knew she was slightly late, and that's smart play from Prakash, although still a foul.
Yeah, Gabby Holler just coming off second best in that instance. Cassidy looking to pump it long. It's too long, in fact. It sails over the goal line.
An ambitious effort there from Cassidy. Decides to go for it. Perhaps she saw something that prompted that. Maybe Grove was off her line and perhaps not ready, but yeah, she blasts it long.
Well, confidence for a young player to have the opportunity with that dead ball situation to take the free kick and go towards goal.
You can see the mentality that she has, and Perth need that from their midfielders, and to see that in such a young player is a really positive sign.
Well, she's only got the 1 goal to her name. That was against the Jets. Hasn't had as much time on the park this season if you compare to her last 2 seasons as well, but still a young player coming through the Western Australian ranks, just 20 years of age. 3rd season at the Glory. So total passes so far, pretty even across the board, but the passing accuracy on these 2 sides, pretty high.
That's pretty high. They'd be happy with that as a start, but
here come the Glory. Flick inside. It was parried away. A bit of a tangle. And Grove and a defender. And Butterweed did well to bring that ball back into the mixer. Tova. Goes back to the captain in Lincoln. Now the run. And sees over for the first corner kick of the game.
Well, that's good play from the Glory. A well-earned corner. They've been circulating the ball nicely, and here was the cross from Butterweir, which you may think it looks a bit disorganised with Barwick, Gray and Grove clashing there, but in those areas, you go for it. You don't leave the ball for anyone in that danger area. So the Mariners handled that very well.
Captain Dalton to take the corner kick. In swinger bounces. And go back out for another. Well, all the Glory players protesting, thinking it was going to be another corner kick, out for a goal kick rather.
Well, Tova was sure of it. You can see the hands in the air, frustration. So her next job now is to press.
Look up to see Prakash is there. Plenty of space in front of her. Varnika Prakash, and beautiful work for the Glory defence. Looks to run and almost releases that ball perfectly to the Lincoln, who was there to run. Now Trimis tries to strike while the Glory defence regain their shape. Trimis again, beautiful ball from Farrow. And smothered well by Cassidy. We'll go to the first drink break of the match. Of course, Perth Glory wearing the rainbow numbers on their kits today. It is Pride Round for them as they celebrate. It's been great. We also saw some dancers in the pre-game that they had as part of the celebration, and reps from Pride Western Australia and Perth Pride FC as a coin toss and ball carrier. All in celebration as well with the representative of the games, which Perth will be hosting here in 2032. So great to see how each team celebrates Pride Round in their own way.
Yeah, it's their turn acknowledging diversity, and we saw that pre-game entertainment. And in Perth, they've had so much football and events on lately with the Women's Asian Cup at the moment. So, you know, Perth will be really calling on their crowd today as well to get them over the line in such an important match.
They've been well supported at the Sam Kerr Football Centre since they moved there at the start of last season. So always good to see the travelling Western Australian support and the home support here back the Glory. Of course, doing pretty well this season, particularly at home. And of course, in that push for their first final series since 2019.
Yeah, and in this match, they've started well. It's been end to end. So things are going the right way so far, and sometimes the break in the play can sort of affect that momentum in a negative way. So it'll be interesting to see when the teams go back out how the momentum shifts.
It's always interesting to see how teams, their body language, how they react to these drinks breaks, how they take that coaching instruction too. It's, you know, not regular within football that we see so many pauses and breaks in play that really allow for a team to reset.
Well, you can see Perth Glory got straight back out there. They seem to be really happy with how things are going, but the Mariners, there seemed to be more instruction coming. Assistant coach Oli Bozanic was out there giving further instructions as well. So I think you can read a little bit into how the teams think they're going as well from the drinks breaks.
Well, Teresa Morrissey, she was on the bench for the Mariners last year in the grand final. In her A-League debut with the Glory, and has had some debut at that on the PFA and the A-League's Player of the Month for January. It's been a great debut season for her in the top flight of Australian football.
Yeah, she's having a sensational season. So important to this Perth Glory team. Having her, you know, behind that back line would give them so much confidence and a feeling of security.
Prakash, well, looks up and saw Tremis. Again, another little grab of the shoulder. This time, referee Sophia Loom wasn't going to pay any advantage there. We've seen it. A couple of players grab at the running on Central Coast Mariners players, trying to just stop them in their tracks.
I still think Prakash had the advantage here, so I don't know if calling the foul was needed here. I mean, look, the Mariners have really good free kick takers, so they're probably happy with it. Trimis, we've seen her score some amazing goals this season from range and from set pieces.
Arguably in contention for goal of the season.
Absolutely.
For one of some of her long-range efforts.
Amazing, and she backed it up the following week.
Peter Trimis, this time looks for the cross. Goes off the back of the foot of Barrett Gray. Chased on by Krazula. And hugging the line. The Mariners look in. Farrow just comes off the side of the boot. And cleared away in desperate circumstances by the Glory.
Well, you wonder how the Mariners didn't put this away. They had numbers in the box. Farrow was thereabouts. Hugh was in the box and inches away from a good connection with the ball.
Tamar Levin did so well to keep that ball in the field of play. Glory now looking to try and attack Farrow. Sweeping in, claims the ball, and hard to judge if that was more of a clearance type ball or just trying to connect with a player from her own team. McKenna. Cassidy trying to avoid Gomez, an ever-present threat. Badawea stuck in towards the sideline, has to bring it back into that middle channel. And just enough from Bowen to just put her foot to slow down the ball, and well, it's going back and forth and scrapping about deep in the attacking half for the Glory.
Badawia did really well to avoid the goal kick there, and they get the throw in, so good work from Perth Glory.
Grace Johnston will head back out to not far where she took that first throw. You can see the wind pushing that ball a little bit in the air as well when it does take a little bit of that flight. Tova. And Grove is smart to dive onto it. Mariners playing to feet and intercepted well. Here is the opportunity. And Badawia, well, she claps her hands thinking that she had that strike, and Grove had to dive down quickly. But good play from the Glory.
It was a great press from Gabby Holler on the left side there. She intercepted the ball, and Tova was able to turn and tee Badawia up, and I'm sure she'd love to have that opportunity back. But Annalie Grove does really well in goals.
Through to Prakash. Bauman ready to release. Levin slowly facing away from goal. But Gray asking for support moving forward in the end. Just puts it out long, and it will result in a goal kick for the Glory. Wood just does enough to keep it from going out in the end. We'll go from defender to defender, opposing teams. And Prakash, well, it takes something to bring her to ground. Another foul committed by Cassidy. She'll get a talking to by the referee.
This is fantastic use of the body from Prakash. By no means the biggest player out there, but she's able to really use her body well, protect the ball. That low center of gravity, giving her the balance she needs. And she gets the better of Cassidy once again. So that battle out there is heating up.
Another long ball pumped, and Morrissey happy to let it just bounce at her feet, but just a little bit on that battle, especially what we're seeing from Prakash. Tell me a bit about how her style of play. She obviously, you spoke about how she's able to hold up the ball, use her body. Young defenders, what should they look at when she plays? Young attackers and midfielders, what should they look at when she plays, and how her ability to really protect their ball in those sort of circumstances?
Well, you can see she's built up the fundamentals as a young kid, and getting that ball mastery right, because she's very technically good on the ball. So that's the first thing, and her positioning out there. She's trying to get in between the defensive and midfielder line and between the midfield players to pick up the ball and create space for herself. And then when she does that, I think, you know, her mentality is unselfish. First thought is to pass.
Potentially why we haven't seen too many goals. And that debut she had for Western United against Melbourne City, I still, in my eyes, disallowed goal that she scored. I always reflect on it was some debut by her, and
yeah,
she hasn't really had too many, you know, goals to her name in this league. But you can see what her ability is in that build-up of play.
It isn't, you know, when that passing option's not on, she's able to dribble and put off defenders. And
Lincoln, well, playing the intercept, a little bit of trip, so it will be a free kick in a reasonably dangerous area here for the Glory.
A good play from Ella Lincoln. She wins the ball off Thew, and then Thew clips her on her way to regathering the ball. So she's getting in really good areas so far in this game, and she's won her team a set piece in a very dangerous area. I would be shocked to see if Tova doesn't go for this from where it is here.
Tova scored in January against Western Sydney Wanderers, just the sole goal to her name in the competition in her debut season. Looks at the in-swinger, who's arriving in the back post. It comes off the body. The flag has been raised, so again, more promising signs there from the Glory in attack.
Yeah, she goes for that far post, and Gabby Holler was lurking. Tries to nod it back in. Danger signs for the Mariners. They're under pressure at the moment in this game. They're away from home. The travel's difficult. They know they're backing up on Wednesday as well, so you know that's always in the back of your mind.
Of course, they'll be playing against the Phoenix at home on Wednesday and then at home to Canberra on the Saturday. So 3 games in 8 days.
Tough games. We know how well the Phoenix are playing. Got a great win over Sydney last night. And then Canberra United doing very well. And then after that, they're up against Sydney. So a really tough run of fixtures for the Mariners, which makes this game all the more important.
Well, Gabby Holler going down here. And of course, while we're talking about the AFC Women's Cup for the seniors, there is an under-20s Asian Cup happening, and quite a few of those Mariners players that we've been singing the praises of will be likely featuring in that young Matildas squad, like Avani Prakash, Peter Trimmis, and of course Tiana Fuller.
Yeah, plenty of talent on show in our Ninja A-League that represent our under-20s, and it's great to see so many of our under-20s playing regularly now. I think it's going to really help them, and they're in their Asian Cup campaign. So really exciting after what's been a really successful and exciting senior tournament.
We've had some strong success in recent years, and of course when you look at the coaching staff, Alex Apakis, who used to be the Perth Glory coach, assisted by Kath Cannoli as well. Lots of talent there, and when you think about the last coach that took the under-20s to an Asian Cup, Leah Blaney, well, she's going to be an assistant coach for the Japanese senior team tonight in the Asian Cup. We talk about these players coming through, but also the opportunity, not just for, you know, players and participants, but also coaching staff throughout Australia.
Absolutely. There's not only playing talent going around, but we've got great Australian coaches coaching at all levels. Good to see. Certainly helping our young youth players develop.
You know, hashtag built in the Ninja A-League, as you've seen across the A-League social. All the players featuring for the Matildas have gotten their start in the Ninja A-League.
Yes.
It's the breeding ground for talent that, you know, marked #1 league in Asia for a reason.
It was amazing to see that post showing that pretty much every Matilda has come through this league, and that just makes this league all the more important.
And the opportunities for Australian football, well, we know how far they can go. Australia's qualified for the Women's World Cup next year in Brazil. What else can we do with our representative sides at those junior levels? It's been a great showing in recent years. Then, of course, more players, younger players getting that experience in the Ninja A-League, playing these regular minutes and playing these now full home and away season. I don't think, even when we consider how much change we've had in the past couple of years, a full home and away season makes such a huge difference in that regards too.
It does on all levels, and one of those important levels is our youth programs, where players need to be playing. It's the major way that you develop, so it's really great to see the improvement.
Gabby Holler makes her way back onto the field as well, so back to 11 versus 11. Buchanan having to really fight down the line to keep that ball in play. Of course, the sister of Western Sydney Wanderers, Ella. Kai Buchanan. Dalton turning one way and the other, getting sandwiched between Mariners players. Olivia Wood, well, Western Australian product, but spent last season in the NPLW in Victoria with the Essendon Royals, scored 4 goals in her 12 appearances there. Starting debut today as well. Badawia driving, long range shot again on the ground. We've seen a couple of those from Badawia. Grove does well to quickly pounce on the ball. It looks like we see Baxter through, just adjusting her shoe a little bit on the ground. So plenty of breaks in play in this first half tee. Of course, had those 2 drinks breaks. Just a couple little bits here and there. Let's restart the play with a drop ball situation. It just extends out those bits of the game as both sides look to break the deadlock.
Yeah, plenty of stops and starts, which doesn't help in terms of momentum. I think for me, Perth slightly stronger side in terms of territory. We've certainly seen them in their front third more so than the Mariners at this point.
Gomez always happy to take players on. 11 punishing with her pace. Now Farrow, little toe flick of the ball, back out to Prakash, and it goes wide, but that was some beautiful play from the Mariners towards goal.
Yeah, wonderful combinations there and a brilliant cutback. Levin starts it off and Farrow's bought it Gomez, and she cuts it back first time. Really intelligent play, but Prakash would have loved to get a better connection there with the ball. It was a great opportunity, probably the best one that the Mariners have had so far.
Good to see so many teammates involved in that build-up too for the Mariners. You can see how unselfish they all are when it comes to working towards goal.
Well, I think they're a team that needs that flow in the game, and they haven't been able to have it so far with all those stops and starts. But once they get going, we see that often from them, those combinations between Gomez, Prakash, Trimmers.
Buchanan does well to keep it in. And Dalton ensures she guides it out to stop a run from Peter Trimmers. Long ball, Farrow bounces well at her feet, toe pokes it and flicks it towards goal. And again, would you describe that one more of a shot or just trying to catch Morrissey off her line a little bit?
To me, it looked like she was trying to play a ball into Gomez with the outside of her foot. But she just didn't get around the ball enough. Certainly wasn't enough on it to beat Morrissey there.
Morrissey's been having a brilliant season since she's joined in this league. Second in the league for saves. It takes something special to beat her. Tova almost does the full turnaround, looking for an option from her team. And Barrett Gray just presence of mind, just stands a metre away, but enough space to run onto to intercept the ball.
Well, we see that from Barwick Gray a lot. She likes to venture forward, but with such a packed midfield area in this game, she hasn't had the opportunity.
Dalton to Holler. Tova has no option. And really compact backline for the Mariners. Levin has plenty of time and space around to flicks it on to Gomez. And again, you're seeing a lot of opportunities for the Mariners to run through the middle of the park, but then it's almost like a hard stop as soon as they get anywhere towards that back line for the Glory. And much the same on the other end too.
Yeah, it's that front third that both teams are still trying to work out. Just seems to be breaking down. That final decision or execution.
Do you think it's going to be a moment of team brilliance like we saw from that chance from the Mariners, or someone individually needs to just have a strike from distance and see that to break the deadlock?
Both teams are capable of either.
The flag is raised once more. So the possession stats, it's been relatively even. Perth Glory having the upper hand, of course, but hasn't been total one-way domination, as you've said, T. It's just Glory potentially having that little bit of their nose in front. And even looking at shots, it's only 4-3 as well, so it's not anything particularly strong in the statistics or in the gameplay that we can see.
Yeah, those stats certainly meet the eye test from what we've seen.
Groan is let out from Sam Kerr Football Centre. Just a bit of a miscommunication in the midfield for the Glory.
And Cassidy and Holler just not on the same page there.
Bar Gray with the invitation to Bauman. To Levin, rather, to come forward. Levin still streaming into space. She'll go for the long-range effort, and it requires a masterful save from Teresa Morrissey. And how about that from Tamar Levin?
Well, you spoke about individual brilliance, Georgia. What a shot from Levin from distance. We've seen her do this before, but brilliance also from Morrissey there to make the save. Well, that's what it seems like it's going to take in this game today. It's been a bit scrappy after that second drinks break. Neither team has been able to get a good grip on the game.
The flag again raising against Holler for that run. Glory, we've seen a couple of times, just really favour that left-hand side. And of course, with all the changes happening across both these teams, a lot of unfamiliar players, and Kai Buchanan featured quite heavily at the start of the season, hasn't been consistently getting minutes. Spoke about Baxter Thur, had played predominantly in that January period towards the end of last year as well. So a lot of players coming in who might not be familiar working with each other in a competition game sense.
And that can certainly have a big effect on the game, and perhaps a big reason as to why the game's at times a bit of a scrap.
Glory more than content to be patient. Tova pushing back in support. Lovely switch to Johnston. Bauman wants to keep it moving this time for her side. Crizula can feel the presence of Dalton behind her.
Well, there were no options forward there for Crizula, and she was double teamed. Perth have been really organised centrally in this game. Defensively, I think they've done a good job at crowding the middle of the field and making it hard for the Mariners to get forward through the middle, and that's their strength. They've got players like Gomez and Prakash in the middle, so certainly would have been part of their game plan to overcrowd those areas. So far it's working. But they've got to get the ball in the back of their own net. Football's about winning the game and getting the 3 points, and that's what both teams need today.
We've only seen the 3 shots on target so far, 2 for the Glory, 1 for the Mariners. less than 5 minutes left to play of regulation time of this first half. Neither side won't be behind at the break.
It's really good build-up once again, but just breaks down in that final third.
Is it that decision-making, you think, or is it the positioning of the players that's making it hard for whoever's trying to pass and break through the lines to find someone? Or is it the defensive setup of the Mariners been so resolute that there's really no options for the Glory?
Well, all three to an extent, Georgia, but I think the player on the ball at times tends to rush their decision. Things tend to speed up in that final third and the pressure becomes more intense with players closing you down. So I'm seeing a bit of rushed and panicked play.
Time moves differently when you have the ball at your feet in one of those situations. Tova has Tremis on her left. Looks down the middle. Lincoln really wants to use the width that Holler loves to favour, and Buchanan just gets a toe in, but doesn't trouble Holler enough. The ensuing foul committed by Farrow puts the Glory in a good position, however. We saw Gabby Holler go off before after a heavy knock, so really, but again, that's part of her role in this Glory team.
Well, she's copped another heavy knock there. Farrow just comes in extremely late there. It wasn't heavy contact, but enough for the foul in a pretty dangerous area. Still in shooting range here for Dalton.
Captain Izzy Dalton, 8 years of age. Dalton goes towards goal and again, look, just in the bottom corner. Wood sends it over, but not a bad free kick at all from the Perth Glory captain.
Well, it was enough here to trouble Grove in goals, and Wood does really well to react and get to that second ball first, but yeah, she wouldn't be happy with the finish there.
Just slightly off target in the end, would you say?
Yeah, a little more than slightly, I'd say, but those are the moments you want to get the ball on target.
We've seen the Glory, even the earlier free kick from Cassidy, go from range. One-way traffic towards goal.
Well, that defensive line was really high on that free kick, so pretty difficult to cross it to anyone. She sort of had to go for it. And she did well, Dalton.
And plenty of players clashing and combining in the deck and rolling over, being able to get back up quickly. Have to adjust to the speed of this game. Cassidy Johnston, Tova at the ball. Anderson asking a little bit of calm and patience. Wood down the line. Runs and just missed time there, and the passes as well. Gomez almost with the hurdle step above, tries to put the ball through the legs of McKenna.
Gomez gets forward and she's looking up, and I think the Mariners have struggled to support the player on the ball going forward. Aside from Millie Farrow, there was nobody around her.
Heavy ball into the back of Krasula. She gets up quickly, tries to claim it in response. Fourth officials indicate there'll be a minimum 5 minutes of time added on in this first half too.
Yeah, given all those stops and starts, it's no surprise that a decent amount of time's been added on.
So a yellow card showing, the first of the match too. Cassidy brought down there. Very heavy challenge.
Yeah, you can't argue that. That's a bit of a dangerous challenge from Krasula. There's been a few of those challenges just starting to heat up in the midfield, so referee Sophie Allen, I guess, wanting to get control of that to make sure it doesn't get out of hand.
That game management piece, especially on a warm day, so important. Gomez over the top. 11 has space. Takes a moment to put it on her right. Krasula decides to go for that longer option. Knocked away. Down the line to Lincoln. And she almost chases after it on her knees. And Glory, they've been consistent in the fact that when they look up and trying to bring the ball out of their defense, they'll always pass back. They don't want to move too quickly in these moments. But it does give that invitation to the Mariners to reset their defense and their shape.
The Mariners have dropped off, interestingly, in this game. They're not pressing very high. They've got more of a mid-block, so Perth haven't struggled to build up from the back. It's the play in the final third that's let them down.
Foul given again. This time in Mariners' favour. So with this particular one, we've seen the Glory look to go long. We haven't really seen too many fouls deep in the defensive half for the Mariners. Olivia Wood just couldn't keep that close control of the ball. It's probably her starting debut in the Ninja A-League, coming against a player like Peter Trimmis as your direct opponent. Not an easy day whatsoever.
I think she's had a really good game so far. She's made a couple of really important interventions. She's up against a player like Peter Trimmis, which, you know, she's having a fantastic season and you cannot switch off on her. So far so good for Wood.
Krasula inviting Buchanan to move forward. And shouts from Stephen Peters to step up and be with her. Talking about the Mariners coming off their press, the Glory being so close and tight with theirs. Gomez tried to play that through ball into Prakash. And again, Morrissey is so happy to let the ball come to her feet, take up those extra seconds before she picks it up.
Yeah, she's so calm and collected, but those are the moments that can really turn things around. All it takes is a quick transition. Fortunately for Perth there, Izzy Gomez didn't get the pass right. She overhit it.
Anderson called upon in defence. When you think about some of those players who are out for the Glory, Zog unavailable due to that red card picked up in last week's game. Also, Julia Sato, and Chinema, Nat Tatham. A lot of experienced players missing from their back line. As Tova looks to move forward. Holler. Back to Tova. Smart work there to cut inside. Tova, long floaty ball. It was never truly troubling Annalie Grove.
You can see the anguish. Great play between the two. Holler does really well at cutting it back, and Tova really sells it to Gomez, beats her and opens up a lot of space. And she knows she should have done better in that situation. There was plenty of space to get that shot at least on target.
The potentially really the final attack we'll see in this first half as the 5 minutes of additional time has gone, and Sophie Elam will blow her whistle. So a remarkably tight first 45 by both teams, neither able to break the deadlock. And across the board, it seemed very even stats. Ivani Prakash really doing so much work in the middle of the field for the Central Coast Mariners. But Perth Glory, they know that this is a must-win game if they want to keep their finals hopes alive. At the Sam Kerr Football Centre at halftime, it's Perth Glory 0, Central Coast Mariners 0. Let's have a look at the highlights of the match so far. So while there might not have been any goals, there has been some good attempts, T.
Oh, look, it's been really back and forth and very entertaining. I wouldn't say either team's had any major chances. Certainly been pushing. That was probably the Mariners' best chance, and Perth did really well to put off Millie Farrow in that area because she was centimetres away from good contact there, and very fortunate for the Mariners. I think Perth have had more of the ball in their final third. And they've done well to press in good areas. Ella Lincoln does really well to cut it for Badawia. And I know Badawia would love to have that opportunity again. That was her area there, and she just didn't strike it well enough.
Yeah, coming up against her former side again, this attempt from Tamar Levin produced the best save of the game we've seen so far.
Well, it's a game that really needs someone to step up and show some brilliance, and Tamar Levin, fantastic shot from range, but equally brilliant save from Teresa Morrissey, and this is why she's the informed keeper in the competition.
And another, this free kick from Izzy Dalton, just a little bit off target, but had enough dip and curve on it to trouble Annalia Grove. Let's have a look at the stats that have made up the first half. So 59% possession to the Glory. They've crept it up in the last 15 minutes of play. In total shots, 7-5. And looking, and we've said it a couple of times throughout the game, it's the stats meet the eye test, T.
I mean, those stats tell the exact story that's happening. Look at those final third entries from Perth Glory. I think they'll be the happier of the two heading into the sheds, but it makes for a very exciting second half.
We'll be back for the second half very shortly after this break.
refused entry, evicted from the stadium, potentially banned from attending future matches, and handed over to the police for further.
Well, a player the Central Coast Mariners are likely missing in their team is, of course, Sarah Langman. She was last year's goalkeeper of the season from the Ninja A-Leagues. Unfortunately, did her ACL back in round 6. Let's have a catch up with how she's been going in her recovery.
Here they come. Adams. Claire Adams, the shot! Langman fell over. And this isn't good for Sarah Langman. She's clutching at her knee straight away. Oh, this is very, very bad news for the Mariners.
I felt a pop, felt my knee shift. It is what it is. Do the rehab, hopefully be back stronger next season. I was okay until I got the phone call. Definitely cried when I heard the news. Wanted to get the surgery over and done with and start rehabbing so I can be back as soon as possible, really. I think I've handled it pretty well emotionally. When we're not at training, I still have to go to the gym on days off, and sometimes it can be quite boring, especially in the early stages of rehab, because obviously I can't do, I've only just started doing some jumping or landing stuff and some jumping stuff, which makes it a little bit more exciting, but being a goalkeeper, that's all I want to do is jump. I mean, I've been injured before, just not this long of an injury, so you can't really push. It's just time, and I'm hoping to be at least, training, fully training by pre-season. But I guess as a goalkeeper, it's different. I can be in sessions without anyone touching me or tackling me. All my family are in Adelaide, but they're very supportive. I did go home for a couple of weeks after my surgery. Still watching the games and staying connected with the girls, but just having that time with family was great. My husband, he's backed me every step of the way. It was more so I made him move from Adelaide, and he was a bit hesitant to, quit his job and leave his family. But he's always been behind me every step of the way and supported me in everything I do, and I'm lucky I have him, and made it easier for me to perform and not have to worry about going to work. I just do as many hours as I want. He loves coming out and supporting the team as well, so he still comes to the games even though I'm not playing and injured. Obviously there was definitely a lot of highs in last year, and going from winning the grand final, goalkeeper of the year, and then obviously December doing that ACL. Obviously no one expects to do the ACL, and I definitely didn't expect to do it off the back of last season. I came into the season feeling really strong. So yeah, it is disappointing, but like I said before, it is what it is, and I've got to come back stronger and better for next season, and yeah, hopefully perform the way I was performing prior to doing my ACL.
T, what a story of resilience. Tell me a little bit, when it's a player going through a long-term injury like that, how you have to mentally recover as well as physically recover.
Yeah, just speaking from what I saw, lots of teammates going through the same thing. It's probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest injury to come back from. And, Sarah Langman was doing so well prior to that injury. So it came at a really untimely time for her. But look, I'm sure she's approaching it, with that strong mindset that she approached playing with, and she'll be back better than ever.
Yeah, let's have a look at the highlights across the game so far. No goals at the break, but there's been plenty of bright sparks for both teams. And of course, with this opportunity, great work here. I think particularly we haven't sung the praise of Tian McKenna enough for doing that intervention to stop Millie Farrow from getting a proper look towards goal.
I think she's done a great job in that centre-back role. She was probably the most logical option to place back there with the absence of Zog. But yeah, in that instance, she made sure the Mariners didn't score there, and Ella Lincoln doing a great job at team Batawea up. I think Perth have had a lot of opportunity in the front third, and I'm sure their halftime discussions would be about focusing in on the moment. And speaking of moments, Tamar Levin with a brilliant shot here, and Morrissey, game-saving save, and that's what she's done time and time again this season.
Yeah, and of course this attempt off the free kick from Izzy Dalton. We've seen both teams really try and have a look towards goal from distance, and of course You love the Ninja A-League? Why don't you collect one of the cards we have available at aleagues.com.au/heroes. Unlock massive prizes and collect your Ninja A-League hero card. We'll be back for the second half right after this break. Well, after the first 45 minutes of play, neither side able to find the back of the net, but both teams playing for finals. Of course, neither of them sitting in the top six at the moment due to Brisbane Roar in that win over the Newcastle Jets last night. But if these teams want to make sure their finals hopes are in their hands and not up to other teams, they really need to make sure that they secure the 3 points.
That's right, Georgia. It's 0-0 here, but for me, Perth have edged that first half. I think they've had more control of the ball, particularly the presence in the attacking third, and overall they've looked more dangerous.
What do you think was said to both teams in the halftime sheds?
Oh, for Perth, I think it's about getting it right in that final third. They had plenty of entries into that area, just didn't do enough with it. And the Mariners, I don't think they've been able to build that fluency that they normally have out there and that momentum. So I think for them it's getting the ball down, controlling it, knocking it around a bit, and getting into those dangerous areas, the wide areas where they have so much joy.
When you're talking about those final third entries, 29 for the Glory, but only 4 touches in the opposition box. They're getting that ball down there, but they're not able to progress any further.
That's right, and credit to the Mariners as well. They're doing really well defending in those areas, but I think those are the the points that both teams will be focusing on to win the game.
And for both teams as well. A lot of players that haven't had consistent minutes, and Corey Babington spoke about the fact 4 games in 2 weeks for the Mariners, 3 in 8 days. It's a pretty heavy schedule to finish off the home and away season. But it does mean as well, we've seen quite a bit of rotation, and he did allude to that in this week's press conference. Of course, no captain Taryn King and Annabelle Martin as well. So quite a few changes in that back line, and we've seen the same for the Glory.
Yeah, all those changes can really upset that continuity and consistency. But look, this is what happens. Teams go through this in a season, so you can't use that as an excuse. It's up to the players that have been called upon to take this opportunity and stake their claim to start in the future. I think it's a really good opportunity for those players.
And Rolla Badawea been doing a lot of work on that right-hand side in the first half, playing against one of her former clubs as well, and as is Teresa Morrissey. Was on the Central Coast Mariners books last season. Got her Ninja A-League debut with the Glory and really has cemented her spot as the #1 goalkeeper in Western Australia.
She certainly has. Across the competition, I'd say at this point she's been the #1 and she's earned that right. But I think the focus will be on the team winning.
I mean, even when you look at the results for both these teams, Central Coast Mariners haven't kept a clean sheet since round 1 against Adelaide United when they played them at home, 3-0 victory. And Perth Glory, well, since Teresa Morrissey's introduction, has had 5. So currently sitting on a deadlock as we get back underway through Izzy Dalton. And the Glory hold possession at home at Sam Kerr Football Centre.
Well, they're in a good spot here, Perth. All those things considered, they're in the box seat to win this game. But we know the Mariners, the players they've got, Izzy Gomez to name just one of them, can pounce at any moment.
And here's a good, well, Central Coast Mariners looked very threatening. Coming back off the press there, Crazula, little flick of the back of Badawia's feet. Pushed, and there's an opportunity for Farrow. Tries to get in front of McKenna, but can't. The Mariners doing well to keep the ball deep in their attacking half to begin the second 45. Gomez puts it out wide, just enough for that invitation from Wood to pull it away, and then the Mariners claim it back. Trimis, low delivery, and it flashes past. Wow, that was a strong opportunity from the Central Coast Mariners.
Well, it's a really great start to the half for the Mariners. Gomez linking up with Trimis, and she cuts it across, but Prakash couldn't get there in time, and perhaps that's something that was spoken about at half-time, just upping that intensity, moving the ball quickly. They did lack a bit of forward support in the first half, so they need to maintain this now, though.
Even what we saw at probably the last third of the first half, where the press wasn't as intense from the Mariners, seems to have risen again at the start of this half.
Certainly has, so it's a good response, and they'd be happy they went into the sheds goalless. Having not conceded, I should say, but
so Vani Prakash is fouled again. We've seen plenty of times Perth Glory doing everything they can just to stop her having any forward momentum with the ball.
you can see the neat touch in tight space there. She got past the 2, and Rolla Badawea said, nah, you're not getting any further, and she commits the foul.
Trim is heavy on the ground there.
It's a head knock here, and that's why we heard the whistle immediately, really landing heavily.
Always a cause for concern, and see the head whipping back up from the ground.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with the tackle. It was a good tackle, just a very awkward, unfortunate landing.
Well, with this being the first of 3 games in 8 days, it's one of those questions where Mariners coach Corey Babington might have to look towards the bench to look after one of his star players, a player that has been selected as part of the Young Matildas for that Asian Cup for the under-20s.
Well, that's another element that's made this game even more difficult for the Mariners. They're thinking about that tight schedule coming up. Badawea got the talking to there. Second foul in quick succession. Bit of a warning from Sophie Allen.
Again, you can see with this temperature and this heat, and you have 2 drinks breaks per half, and that ball just hitting her as well. A lot of effort being put into these games from both these teams, as to be expected at a football game of this level, and especially with the desperation of knowing how much hangs in the balance with these results. Badawea looking to push forward, soft touch, finds the ball to Lincoln, but the Mariners defenders do nothing but clear it in the hopes to just slow down the attack. Johnston to Lincoln. It's a curling effort, but just not enough towards goal, and Grove is happy to come up and be so purposeful with her options through the middle.
I've seen some really great touches from Ella Lincoln today. It was her touch forward that set Perth up on that transition forward. She just set herself up for a shot as well, albeit on her non-dominant leg. She's been busy trying to make things happen out there for Perth Glory.
So the fouls conceded, 10 for Perth, 4 for the Mariners. Well, when you look at Perth as well, having conceded 10, 6 of them have been on Avani Prakash. She is so far beyond the player who's had the most fouls won in this game.
Prakash with 5 fouls against her, 6 I should say, and there's no surprise there. She's a very creative player. She's a key player. And Perth know they need to stop her in order to stop the Mariners.
Glory. Barrett Gray had to really connect well with that boot, high swinging boot, to push it away. Tremis, well, dropping deep to really use that. Her defenders behind her. Switch of play all the way to 11. I saw some magic from 11 before. What can she do now? Bauman looking for the cross in, and it'll take a heavy deflection off the leg of Grace Johnston, and the Mariners have won themselves a corner kick.
Well, that was a great run forward from Bauman. Her run really unsettled Perth, disorganised them, and look at that space she ended up with. Anderson did really well to close her down in the end, but they've got a corner now, which is danger signs for Perth.
11. Into the middle, and it hits the top of the netting. The result in a goal kick for the Glory, but again, opportunity goes flashing by. Well struck by 11.
It was a great contact on the ball here. Barwick Gray, always the target, and 11 certainly hit the target.
We spoke about it a little bit in the first half tee. We often see Miss Barwick Gray being put up front, especially in corner kicks and dead ball situations. Use her height. At times as well, just being put forward towards the end of the games just as a taller attacking option.
She's certainly the target on set pieces and corners.
The Alana Kennedy-ification of defenders we've seen happen.
Well, we're seeing Alana Kennedy back further up the pitch now, so who knows what will happen.
That is the beauty of football. So many roles that these players can have within one game. And of course, you've spent quite a bit of time through the Asian Cup as well. I must ask you, we've seen, you know, success of Samba when she was playing for the Wellington Phoenix before her unfortunate ACL injury. Any players you think that should be making their way to the Ninja A-League next season?
Well, I'm sure the Ninja A-League coaches would have been scouting those games. There was so much talent on display, and I think it's a great opportunity for teams to potentially recruit players for next season. Players from the region were exposed to Australia and the way of life here, so hopefully, you know, they were on the lookout as well, and we've got such diverse communities out here. You saw the Samba effect for Wellington. Wouldn't you love to see that across the league?
I mean, if you look as well, the Philippines qualified for the World Cup. Their 2 goal scorers, Angie Beard and Jacqueline Savicki, both having played in the Ninja A-League. Of course, Angie Beard across at the Brisbane Roar as well. So plenty of talent across the region also, you know, playing in the Ninja A-League in response.
Fantastic case in point there, Georgia. As we see foul on Izzy Gomez there. Lincoln just holding her back, breaking up the attack forward.
Levin brings it down well. Shrugs Cassidy off her shoulder. Trimis. Smart work. Gomez loads it up to... was hoping that Trimis would be running into the space.
You could see Gomez was in 2 minds there. The ball came to her non-dominant left foot, and the opportunity to take the strike was on, but she opted to try and feed the ball back to Trimis.
Well, we've spoken about it, alluded to before, that when you see those plays by the Mariners, so often they are linking up, laying it off. We saw that great strike from Levin that forced the save from Morrissey. Is it an opportunity of potentially being a little bit too unselfish in the final third for the Mariners at times?
In that case, yeah, and just a little bit unsure on the left foot there for Gomez.
Here comes Badawea. Again, the senior experience of Barrett Gray. Puts it out for a corner kick, the first for Glory in the second half. We have seen Susan Fongsong Cam score an Olympico. I think the ball, technically the goal was attributed to Sarah Donahue, but in my mind it was to Fongsong Cam. So they do, fortunately, out at the moment with injury, but they do have that ability to practice for those in-swinging corners. Amatova in charge of this corner kick. High floaty delivery at the back post, headed back, but well off target.
Post delivery. Gabby Holler does really well.
So
balanced and get on the end of it, but she couldn't guide it towards the goal.
Yeah, player, especially in her goal scoring in the Victorian NPL when she was with Burundara. She's got plenty with her head. Challenge from Anderson sends Farah to the ground. Play on Tova. Happy to pounce at a quick transition. Holla. Attempting to break through the lines and find Badawea, but finds the body of Buchanan instead. Bauman. Oh, look at that tackle there. Thoughts on that one, T?
I think it's a great, strong challenge there from Anderson. No malice there, just a fair, strong challenge. It's good to see, well timed.
Bowman stuck, well, almost forced into the corner. Glory smothering. They win the throw. Again, just staring into the sun there, potentially a little bit for Emma Tova. This hits the pass back to Grace Johnson. Bubbling around. We spoke about that scrap in the midfield in the first half. Looks like it has continued on into the second. And shadows starting to creep up more in the game here in Western Australia. Tova. Lincoln bouncing around almost like a pinball machine.
Glory just forcing that pass again in the final third. The effort's there again in this half. It's just the same issue in that final third. I think the Mariners have been able to narrow the gap with their increase in energy.
Well, looking to the bench as well, do you think that's, you know, potentially to bring someone else on to change that attacking spark?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few changes in the not too distant future, just to try and mix up and shift the energy out there. Get some new, fresh ideas happening.
Farrow. Back to Gomez. Buchanan straight through the middle. Prakash goes to ground. This time, no foul committed, says referee Sophie Alum. Inching towards the next drinks break as well for these two teams. And keeping the ball moving so forwardly for the last couple of minutes, and with that, both teams will head to their respective benches for the first drink break of the second half.
Now, not too much happening before this break, so let's see if a bit of instruction can help either team get a better hold of the match.
Of course, this is Perth's third last game of the home and away season. They'll be heading to Brisbane in round 21. Then, of course, Melbourne victory at home. It's been mixed results. They faced Brisbane back in round 2. They had a 3-2 loss and, of course, lost to Melbourne victory 3-0. Wasn't that kind of run of 4 defeats that Stephen Peters really said made their season difficult? They've had to fight out of that situation and come back into it, and it's why they've had some consistent results too. And of course, with the Mariners, well, they'll have that extra game. And playing, of course, against the Phoenix at home midweek on the 25th, and then across to Canberra at home and Sydney at home. So at least their congested fixture will all be home games.
Yeah, if you look at those fixtures, just thinking about them, both teams have a difficult run towards the end of the season.
It's been a fairly unpredictable season in terms of some of the results that we've seen. So you never know what's going to happen with the Ninja A-League.
It's been so close. It's great, I think, and just goes to show, you know, Perth were doing so well, and then a run of 4, you know, ordinary games, and they've put themselves in a situation where now they're battling to make the 6. Same as the Mariners. They had a really great run. They were in touch with that top 3 at one stage, and then couple ordinary performances and results, and they're in this similar situation.
And it looks like we'll see some substitutions for the Perth Glory. Sarah O'Donoghue and Charlie Wainwright. So looking to be some attacking and midfield subs. And Sarah O'Donoghue, we know that's a player who can strike well from distance. Did that particularly well for Heidelberg in the NPLW Victoria when she won the league with Heidelberg, won the league with them too. So Gabby Holler to come off for Sarah Donahue. And as well as Georgia Cassidy for Charlie Wainwright. So like-for-like substitutions by Stephen Peters and the Perth Glory.
Yeah, no surprises that he's looking to his bench now. Just to change things up, get some new combinations out there. Bit of energy. There's plenty of time for either team to get on top here.
Plenty left to play for in this match, of course. And plenty of time too to make that difference. Getting on the ball early is Charlie Wainwright. Skips through the middle. Under pressure. Now the Glory now trying to work this ball away from their goal. Barwick Gray going for that little bit of a run. It's a heavy first touch from Gomez, but she recovers it well. Again, that ball sent out wide from Trimis, but just no one fast enough to run into that space or anticipating that next delivery in.
Yeah, a bit lackluster there from the Mariners. Perth just distributing the ball in and around that back line.
Wainwright comes on with fresh legs, more than up to the challenge against Bauman. Wood flicks on Buchanan under pressure and sends it almost over the fence entirely.
Well, the role of the substitutes today is so important given where the game's at. Subs that come on have to hit the ground running. They have to be brave.
Wood, another high delivery. Tangle between Badawea and Bauman, and Badawea quite can't believe her ears.
Yeah, I'm not sure about... I felt like both players had their arms kind of wrapped there. I guess perhaps the defender gets the priority there, given where the ball was located.
Barwick Gray got a bit of a cramp here, so there'll be a little bit of delay in play. Have you seen her partnership with Baxter Thu in this match? Not players that we've seen play for the Mariners together, but they've seemed to be working well in their partnership.
Well, I mean, they haven't conceded, so that's the biggest indicator that things are going well for them out there in that new partnership.
O'Donoghue to Dalton. Tova. Tamar Levin with so much confidence. Steamrolls through, puts it out on the side for Farrow. Face to face, the challenge was on between her and Misha Anderson. Farrow taking a little bit to get up. But that was some bravery there from Misha Anderson.
Well, that duel between Anderson and Farrow, it's been ongoing in this game, and Anderson once again getting the better of Farrow. Just her physicality has been so dominant. She put in a really tough challenge earlier and took no prisoners in this one, really got the body in front there.
So a change now for the Central Coast Mariners. We'll see the introduction of Eliza Hamilton, as well as Tiana Fuller, Millie Farrow and Peter Trimis coming off in their play. So again, this time also attacking changes for Corey Babington and the Mariners. We've seen, of course, Tiana Fuller and Liza Hamilton, both Central Coast local players, and Fuller absolutely bursting onto the scenes, had multiple goals in her first couple of appearances for the Mariners. Less minutes in the side under a new coach in this season. All her appearances, this is her 10th for the season, all have been subs.
Well, there's plenty of minutes left in this game, so Fuller will be happy to get on with plenty to go, and she'll want to make a statement out there.
Of course, Eliza Hamilton, another player who debuted and scored a goal against the Jets and an assist in her first 27 minutes of top flight football. So players that have come through the academy for the Mariners, improving goal scorers in their first couple of appearances. What can they do in today's match?
Another young player on, again, attacking player. This is the type of game where you can put your name on the map and really take a hold of that position.
Kazula. A little dink ball over the top, but just not with the setup to have anyone there. Gomez. We've seen plenty of goal scorers in the first two games of this round. This, of course, in that second game, Brisbane and Newcastle Jets, it was locked in at goalless at half-time. A quick flurry to begin the second half. There's still time for plenty of goals to be scored in this one. Gomez, great delivery. Levin goes for goal. And it's just fingertips over the crossbar. And Tamar Levin, how about that?
Her shots from range are sensational. Once again, Tamar Levin putting her hand up. She wants to be that player that gets her team the win today, but equally, Teresa Morrissey, she's stepped up and she's kept Perth in the game.
In-swinger comes off the back, cleared off the line, and somehow doesn't go back in. And great work from Levin, again the crossbar, and Glory get themselves out of a mighty dangerous situation. There's 3 attempts towards goal in quick succession there, T, and just brilliant defending off the line from the Glory.
Absolute desperation there from the Glory. It was Wainwright with the clearance off the line. Perfect positioning.
And Gomez look to go again.
Great delivery, dangerous. The Mariners would be wondering how that didn't go in. Hits the woodwork. Hamilton couldn't get the connection on it, and there were enough bodies for Perth around the ball to recover it, luckily for them.
Teresa Morrissey, when you think about her impact in this game and her impact in this season too, just so many, you would think, for potentially other teams, certain goals, but just the last line of defence, but also the work there of Charlie Wainwright to step up for that goal line clearance.
Well, that's what you want from your keeper. You want them keeping you in the game, and that's what Teresa Morrissey has done time and time again this season. 5 clean sheets, what you mentioned earlier. I mean, that's incredible. They haven't conceded today yet. It's not down to luck. It's good positioning. It's leadership. It's that energy and presence that she has out there. And she's rallying the troops around her. But that's only one part of the problem. The other half is getting it in their own goal at the other end, and they haven't shown enough in that final third today, Perth.
Well, funnily enough, that even though they haven't really had too many dangerous chances, but they have actually had more shots on target in this game above their average. So they are going more towards goal and having those, shots on target and shots. The issue is just those dangerous shots and really, I guess, upping the XG if you do follow.
Well, I mean, that's a step in the right direction for Perth, but it's creating those big chances. They've got the players out there that can finish those big chances. I just don't think for all the opportunity they've had in that final third, they haven't been able to create real decent chances in and around the box for players like Roller Batawia to finish.
Well, shots so far, 9 for Perth, 7 for the Mariners.
Yeah, 17.
Shots on target, 5-2. And of course, those two we've seen for Central Coast has been top shelf saves from Teresa Morrissey. On the other end, Johnson swinging that ball in, but too much behind it. So we're going to another cooling break here. The last one. So some subs here and a big one for Perth Glory. So we're seeing the introduction of Ella Abdul-Nasib and Badalia. And the introduction of Megan Wynn as well. So Megan Wynn, she did that ACL injury in the final home and away game last season. Resulted in her missing the Euros. She represents Wales at an international level. Came back for a couple of minutes in last week's game. Was assisting as the team manager as well while she was doing her recovery. Spoke about in the halftime break about Sarah Langman as well. And as we now go to the drinks break, but that impact of still being around the team is huge too.
Oh, it's so important in terms of your recovery and your mental state in such a difficult time. So it's always great that players can have that opportunity.
Avani Prakash, let's have a chat about her. We spoke about the amount of fouls that she's been drawn in this game, but has been doing so much through the midfield for the Mariners.
Yeah, 6 fouls. I mean, that speaks for itself. She's the player that's critical for the Mariners, and Perth know that. So she's gained a lot of attention. Her neat touches in and around those midfield areas available, gets up, keeps going. Such a durable player, and she had that shot, that half chance earlier in the match, which she'd wish she could have over. But look at those amazing touches. Not the biggest player by any means, but really has a massive heart out there.
Yeah, and we saw really frequently in the first section of the season as well. She was in charge of so many dead ball situations for the Mariners, but has really been carving up in that midfield, getting involved, and like you said, using that low centre of gravity at times just to dart through players, claim the ball, and start some really positive play for her team.
Well, her technical ability is her strength, and she certainly is using that to be a key creative player for the Mariners. We've seen it all this season, and it's pleasing that she's earned that right to start for this team. She really deserves it.
3 assists for her this season, of course, and we've spoken about the fact that she's part of that young Matildas squad and set up, and has been for a couple of years now too, so she's getting that recognition at the representative stage for Australia.
Yeah, and she'll be a key player for the young Matildas come the Asian Cup. She'll be able to show herself to the world there as well. So how exciting for young players. There's scouts everywhere now, and there's so many more major tournaments available for our youth teams. So fantastic opportunity to get themselves out there, really.
So confirmation of Olivia Wood coming off as well. So pretty decent showing in her starting debut in the Ninja A-League.
Yeah, strong game for Wood. And those changes for Perth, 2 attacking changes, so you can see the intent that they have in this game. They're going for the win here.
Tova being forced to look up over her shoulder. Loose ball. So he's going to stop in the field of play, and just wanted to make sure there's no Mariners players. They've looked alive in this second half when it comes to pouncing on any kind of loose ball from the press. Lincoln back to Tova. We spoke about that passing accuracy really early in the game too. You can see how much the Glory are looking to play to feet. Johnston whips it through the middle, and a lot of pressure from Lincoln on Buchanan. So at the very least, Glory will have a throw deep.
Yeah, I don't think either team's had an issue in general play and possession building up. It seemed to break down in the final third.
Well, difficult conditions here for Dalton, having to look straight into the sun to put this ball in near post this time. Comes back to her. She claims it as her own. To throw. Puts it back. Glory there. So passing accuracy 80% to 77%. And as you said, T, definitely not been where there's potential challenges in the game for either team.
Yeah, they're pretty good percentages, to be honest. And it's all about that play in the final third.
Win. Soft layoff. Donahue almost scuffs it off the wrong part of her foot. Mariners moving with purpose. The ball just landing awkwardly at Tova. She's had to really regather herself and struggling to stay on both feet. Prakash not able to beat the last line of defense. The boot of Crizula, then met by Johnston. Win. Popped it around quite heavily. We'll need your opinion on that one on the replay. The play continues. Mariners happy to keep the ball moving.
The response from the crowd for this challenge on Win. Oh, yeah, I mean, that's behind her as well. It's definitely worth questioning that. And you could hear the crowd absolutely outraged by it.
That's a heavy welcome back to football to Megan Wynn. Haven't really seen any changes to the possession stat since the halftime break either, so it's been consistent throughout the game. And the flag has been risen. with both coaches talking about the importance of this game, what do you think they'll be trying to tell their team in the last 5 to 10 minutes of play?
Well, they need to go for it. It's a must-win for both teams. It's a 6-pointer here, and both teams have made attacking subs, so they've got the players out there to really go for this. The energy of the game slightly dropped off, though.
The team's probably most excited about this result standing as is Brisbane Roar after the back of that win. Currently 2 points ahead of the Glory, in exchange 3 points ahead of Central Coast.
They had a huge win yesterday, and sure them and Melbourne Victory would be looking on today, hoping it remains a scoreless draw.
Melbourne Victory having the bye this week as well. Dalton still at the feet and somehow saved away. Corner kick given here.
Well, this is the chance of the game for Perth. O'Donoghue pretty much had an open chance here, and the Mariners manage to block the shot in that area. I think she just took too long to put it away there. What a chance.
Well, it looks like Tova back. She had that really awkward knock a couple of minutes ago. Was really struggling to, you could see she wanted to continue but couldn't. And it's always in those circumstances that you have the most worry, T.
Yeah, certainly when she's gone down for the same issue again. Certainly a bit of worry.
Again, Stephen Peters more than happy to have a couple of quick conversations with some of his players too. And after that, do you think an extended break like this after a good chance like we just saw from O'Donoghue is more of a hindrance to momentum, or?
Certainly is a lot of the time.
Of course, Tova is obviously showing signs of injury here, not a planned break by any means, but when it comes to that performance that we have been seeing and little bright spots from the Glory, it is a difficult situation at hand.
She's certainly got an issue there. And she's an important player for Perth Glory.
Really, only Clancy Westaway on the bench remaining for the Glory. Corner kick. 11 pumps it down the line. Bauman with plenty of legs in her. Prakash to Gomez, and so we'll see that final sub for the Glory very soon. Dalton had to keep trying to put her foot in it and straight pass. So Hamilton and Anderson, when we saw a hefty battle between Misha Anderson and Millie Farrow. Millie Farrow's departure, it does seem like it is Hamilton versus Anderson now, and substitution here for the Glory. So Ella Lincoln coming off and Clancy Westaway, the final change there. And also for the Mariners, for the end of the day for Tamar Levin, who has shown real sparks of individual brilliance. And a first appearance since the 24th of January for Janaya Dos Santos.
For Perth Glory coming off, number 25, Ella Lincoln, and she is replaced by number 28.
Well, we've seen Dos Santos come on and score late winners in the past. Let's see if she can do it for her team in such an important fixture.
Scored in round 1 against Adelaide. Only her 7th appearance this season. Coming right into the thick of it. Tiana Fuller. A weighty ball. And the win. And brought down to ground again. This time the foul called.
It's another foul on Megan Wynn. Yeah, just a push in the back from Fuller. Probably wasn't necessary in that situation. She had a defender with her assisting, recovering, and perhaps the only saving grace is it is a little bit far out. The question is, will Dalton go for it?
Abdul Mesa. Again, there's bright opportunities and sometimes a little bit of deflation after just the missed passes and what we've seen in the final third at times too.
Yeah, you can sense that, but they need to figure out a way to just keep going, keep pushing for it.
Well, 6 minutes of time added on here, so plenty for either side for some late drama in the back end of the season. Missed away. Dealt with well by Thu. The cowbell starts to ring out here at Sam Kerr Football Centre. There's never been a 0-0 in this fixture. There's been a couple of draws. The past 2 games have been draws. Both Mariners home game, of course. This will be the first positive result at home against the Mariners if this score stands for the Perth Glory. Bouncing ball. Dos Santos. Back to Grazula. Hamilton. Fuller was asking for it on the edge, but potentially asking a bit too much for her teammates. Here comes Wainwright and Megan Wynn. Wynn on full steam, but brought down. And it's a reach into the pocket for Bauman and a yellow card. Will be a free kick in a very dangerous position here for the Glory. A big talking to between the referee and Lorena Bauman.
Great driving run from Megan Wynn, and she does really well to try and cut in front and take that touch at the right time. She knew Bauman was going to lunge in. And make no mistake, she's drawn that foul. That's intelligent football. And she's put her team in a good position here, a dangerous position for a set piece.
Do you think it could have been a red card?
No, I'm pretty content that it was a yellow there. I don't think there was enough contact to deem it a red, and there was a recovering defender as well. So when you consider all those things, yellow's plenty.
Well, we've seen some late magic from Ella Abdelmassi at this end of the Sam Kerr Football Centre before. Can she recreate it with potentially the last kick of the game in another free kick situation? Abdelmassi, and it floats back and intended more so as a cross than a shot.
Yeah, a bit disappointing there. It was a great opportunity, and here's the run forward. You can see to the left, just off screen, Baxter Thew was the recovering defender. So taking that into account, that's why it was a yellow card as opposed to a red. Good refereeing.
Minutes and seconds start to tick down. Opportunities become fewer and fewer in this game, and there's been plenty of attacking. Just hasn't resulted in a goal. A little bit of magic there from Abdelmassi, former teammate, of course, of Talia Yunus, and we saw a bit of a rainbow flick from her last week, recreating some of that herself.
That was an amazing bit of skill we saw from Yunus.
Johnston driving with so much purpose. Stop the play here. Very heavy landing within the box. Just getting confirmation to see. Well, it seems to be a very heavy knock, and the doctors were very quick to come onto the field of play.
Yeah, it's always concerning. Serious sign when you see the medical team come on and...
Yeah, Grace Johnston, ball to the back of her head and then a heavy landing as well. Has been able to roll onto her side at the very least. Always a difficult situation in those moments because you'll be so conscious of the head, especially in modern football.
Yeah, and particularly when the ball hits the back of the head with such force. You could see she just dropped immediately, and that's a concerning sign, but obviously the team doctor and physio are on hand to administer the appropriate tests to see if she can carry on.
Well, she's been able to get back onto her feet at the very least. Glory out of subs in this match, but of course head knock and concussion sub does allow that extra window and opportunity, but I wouldn't think there's much time left in this game. And a big round of applause at Sam Kerr Football Centre for Grace Johnston back on her feet.
Good to see her up and about, and that she can resume the game.
Hamilton, could there be a chance for some late magic? The collisions are coming through thick and fast. We've talked about the scrap, we've talked about this arm wrestle in the midfield throughout this game. And so much of this battle has been Prakash. And plenty of players here. Hamilton. And it'll be a free kick here. And a yellow card. Well, we just saw maybe a couple of minutes ago a very similar situation down the other end of the pitch. And Anderson came sliding in. Foot was raised there.
Dangerous challenge from Anderson. Extremely late there. It was Prakash that did a lot of the work to get her team into that position, and she's been fouled 8 times now. But I'm sure she will take that for the team. She'd be more than happy, because this presents a fantastic opportunity for the Mariners.
And this is the question. No Peter Trimis, Gomez and Fuller. Will they go directly towards goal? Will they try to lay it off? Will this be the time that we've spoken about?
We'd love to hear the conversation between the two there to determine who's taking this set piece. Well, there you have it.
Potentially the final kick of the game too. Tiana Fuller directs it wide.
Great pace on it, just wide. I think Morrissey seemed really calm that she had it covered there.
As we go past 100 minutes, Sophia Loom blows the whistle and neither side able to break the deadlock in what was a real battle for both, and predominantly through the middle of the park, and we saw some bright chances and some bright sparks from both teams, and Ronnie Prakash, a standout player, but with the relatively new look defensive lines both sides too, it was no real strong clear-cut opportunities for either. Of course, the battle now to make finals gets even harder for both, potentially takes some of the ability to leave it in their own hands and add to the chance of others. And it's full time here at Sam Kerr Football Centre. It's Perth Glory 0, Central Coast Mariners 0. Let's have a look at the highlights across this match. So the first time there's been a 0-0 fixture played between these two teams too.
Well, the last time they met, it was a 1-1 draw, so they've drawn again, but, you know, a scoreless draw, but it was full of action at both ends there. That was the best chance the Mariners had. Really good defending in the box for Perth, and Rolla Badawia had a few shots from range, and that was probably her closest shot that she'd be really frustrated she couldn't get into the back of the net. And Tamar Levin stepping up, wanting to be that player that broke the deadlock. Twice she had 2 fantastic shots.